Hi, this is Zach Meir with the US stock highlights here on Share Talk for Wednesday, the 7th of April. Starting off with Applied DNA Sciences, where we have this gap to the upside after the March-April double support for the shares towards $6.70 in the floor of that rising trend channel from December. Current view is that while we're above the floor of the gap, which is yesterday's high at $7.37, we're looking for at least a retest of today's intraday peak towards $10 initially. That could be over the next week or so, but the big picture target here by the end of May as high as $16 at the top of that December trend channel. This stage only well below $6.50, really delaying the upside scenario. Moving along to a stock which is worth checking out at the moment in terms of technical setup. Here we can see that we've got Bonso Electronics International breaking that neckline resistance there from February at $7.73. End of day close above that, and also above, I suppose, the initial April resistance there, $7.60, but $7.73 the level in question that we want to beat. It will not only retest today's intraday peak towards $12.70, but also a target over the next, I suppose, the next 2 to 3 months as high as $16 at that September resistance line projection from last year. This stage only really back below the 50-day moving average at $6.06, really cancelling the idea of a sustained recovery for Bonso Electronics. Moving along to a stock which I don't remember having a look at prior to this, and it is Cohen & Company. Here a great looking chart in the sense about that massive gap to the upside. To start last month, we've broken the neckline resistance with the mid-month March resistance there at $28.50, and while we're above that, on an end-of-day close basis, logical to assume that we'll retest, or at least partially retest, last month's peak through $52. Best case scenario target here over the next 2 to 3 months as high as $64, which is the top of a rising trend channel from October. On to a stock which is looking pretty constructive as well at the moment. Here we're coming up with Genetron HOLDINGS Limited. Here we've broken that line of resistance from February. Tested it, I suppose, as a new support to today's low at $20.50, showing us where it is. And clearly we've got the 50-day moving average there as the initial target to around $24, but an end-of-day close above $24 should be enough to take Genetron Holdings up towards the top of the rising trend channel from November as high as $36. As soon as the end of next month. A stock which is looking constructive as well at the moment, Ion Geophysical Corporation, bit of a mouthful the name there, but here we've bear trapped, I suppose, from below that late December low at $2.17, above that on an end-of-day close basis, and after breaking that line of resistance from February and the 200-day moving average at $2.30, we're looking for a retest of the mid-March resistance as high as $3.25 rather by the end of this month. Big picture target maybe over the next 2 to 3 months as high as $6, which is a line of resistance from back in the early part of 2020. So it depends exactly how you draw that, but the $6 area looks to be on the cards over the next 2 to 3 months for Ion Geophysical. On to a stock which is not so familiar to us, but may become so. Moving along to a stock where there's been a bear trap rebound, Austria Inc, and that's from below the initial November support there at just around the $9.50 level. An end-of-day close above that, and after breaking this falling wedge that's been in place since the end of last year, above $9.50, looking for the 50-day moving average at $11.76 as an initial target over the next week or so, but the bigger target for the end of next month perhaps up to $17, which is basically post-December resistance for the shares, as well as being a December resistance line projection. On to a stock which we have looked at before here, and good to see it doing well at the moment, Ocugen. Here you can see that there's been a rebound effectively at the what was formerly the floor of the gap higher in February, so we call that $5.90. That support area now coming in since the end of last month, and while we're above the $6 area at least, looking for not only a retest of today's peak towards $8.25, but also the March resistance, mid-March resistance around $10 plus by the end of this month. So certainly above $6, looking for $10 plus in the next few weeks. Another stock which has been a relatively frequent flyer here are ONCT Therapeutics, clearing anything in the biotech therapeutics area flying at the moment, and we saw that with the gap reversal that we had in December for ONCT. Current situation is that above the last March peak at $9.45 on an end-of-day close basis, we're looking towards the $14 area, which is the top of a rising trend channel from back in October. At this stage, only really well below $8, really delaying the upside scenario for ONCT. On to a stock which has a rather witty name versus its ticker code. Here we've got ammo, and the situation now is that we've broken above that late March resistance at $6.78, while we're above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking towards $12 at the top of a rising December trend channel. That $12 level could be seen as soon as the end of next month. Just three situations to go now. First one is one that we've looked at quite recently, Recon Technology. Here we've had a nice bounce effectively off the old April-May resistance area just towards the $5 level. The last or initial support here for the shares at $4.67. And while we're above that, looking towards as high as $11 at the top of the rising trend channel from November. And that could be seen as soon as the end of next month. Stock which is difficult to forget due to its name, SOS Limited. Here we've had quite a painful pullback with an island top from the February resistance, but we've managed an island reversal now, island bottom for the shares, so gapping down at the end of last month and gapping up today. As little as an end-of-day close through the 50-day moving average at $6.04 should take the shares up towards a retest of initial March resistance at $9.25 as soon as the end of next month. Stop loss, I would say, really back below the high of yesterday at $4.63 should cover it for SOS. And if you're cautious, wait for an end-of-day close through the 50-day line at 609. Last one of the day is a new one, and here we can see that XL Fleet is up on the pedestal, a technical pedestal of being a falling wedge break. Here we've broken that line of resistance from back in December, and while we're above that at $8.47 on an end-of-day close basis, looking towards the 200-day moving average at $13.24 as soon as the end of next month. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.